Hi again, fellow unlicensed thinkers. Today I have an empowering message, although perhaps a little bit weird in the way I deliver it, because if you can make something weird, make it weird. Why not? Before I do that, if you could hit the like button for me, I can't quite reach it from here. Thank you. Now, I'm going to talk about something that Alan Watts said. And Alan Watts brought up this question of, if you could ask God one question and you had as long to think about it as you wanted, what would that question be? And it's sort of a funny thing because, and I'll get to why it's empowering here shortly, or you'll pick it up as we go, whatever the case may be. But, and I don't know how you know that God's going to answer this question for you. Maybe he sent you an email, maybe it was a phone call. I don't know. I don't even know what your concept of God is, so it doesn't really matter. That's not the point. The point is that you can have a question answered, absolute 100%, the most honest, best, most complete answer. Just you get to ask this one question and it gets answered. So you have as long to think about this as you want. You can say, okay, well, what would I ask? Let's see, I could ask all kinds of stuff. What's the meaning of life? Well, that gets into some weird stuff too, because, you know, he's like, well, the meaning of life, but the meaning of life for me, or the meaning of life for you, or the meaning of life for God? Who am I asking the meaning of life for? Let's see, that's like that. And what is the point of existence? Okay, so we can go through all these things. You can keep coming up with all these different questions. But the real question is, or the real point of this, and what becomes the real question is, can you figure out the answer for yourself? So that's the big one, right? Because you have as long to think about it as you want. So do I want to waste, so to speak, this question by asking something that I could have figured out myself? Well, no, I don't want to. I get one chance to ask God a question. I don't want to waste it and throw it away and ask something stupid. So, gee, I better think about this, right? Okay, so this meaning of life thing. Well, what if I can figure that out? What if I just take a little while and sit down and I can figure out what the meaning of life is, or at least for me? Okay, so good. All right. Let's see. I could ask God, where did he come from? But then we get into, does that really matter? And that's a whole nother set of questions. So we have the things that I can figure out for myself, and then we have the things where it's, well, does it matter? What difference is it going to make when I get up tomorrow to start my day if I know that God came from Pluto, whatever? I mean, does it matter? It's not really going to change anything in my world to know where God came from. So that's another set of questions. But then we have also another, well, I should say it's another set of answers, because the next one is, what if you don't want to know the answer? What if you think you want to know the answer, but you don't really want to know the answer? So what if you ask this purpose of life question, and the answer is not what you thought it was going to be? What if you ask God, what is the purpose of life? And God says, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. So I thought about it for a while and I decided the purpose of life was, how many blankets can you have by the time you die? And you'd be like, what the F, dude? What is your problem? So do you really want to know the answer? But that, I mean, again, goes back to, you can figure out the answer to any of these. You can figure out if you want the answer. You can figure out what is the right answer for you. You can't really figure out the answer for everybody. You can't figure out the answer for God himself. You can only figure out the answer for most of these things for yourself. And so that's what's empowering here. That's why this little mental exercise of what do you ask God isn't so much about, I know Alan Watts presented it one way, but I think he had a deeper meaning, and I think that's what we're talking about here. I think he had a deeper meaning because I respect his vast intelligence. The man was a genius. So is that what Alan Watts was talking about? That it doesn't matter what the divine says? That maybe you are divine in this world of yours. And so Can you ask God a question? Well, yes, you can ask God as many questions as you want. You can keep asking questions all day. And you, this is the truly empowering part, can figure out the answer. You can work to figure out the answer. You can sit down, you can think about it. You can say, what does this mean to me? What is important to me? And that is going to be the purpose of your life, the reason for your creation. All of these different things that you could possibly ask God. Now, if you want my answer to the question, let's say I was sitting down in front of the divine, this entity named God, and I could ask one question, and I've thought about this, and there's only one question I can think to ask, because I really have. I've thought about this question for a while, and everything else I've been able to work through. A lot of that you see on my channel. But the one question that I would ask is, what question should I ask you? Because the answer to that question would give me enough information to figure out what it is the divine was talking about. And so I don't know what the answer to that question would be, so I really don't have any way to give examples, because, well, that would that would sort of break this whole space-time continuum thing, and I don't really want to do that. The point is that even if I asked what I think is the best question, and if you have another best question, if there's something you would ask God, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Let's see what we can figure out. But that's my best question. And really, even that question doesn't matter, because it still comes down to I'd have to figure out what it was after that. And that's the point. We are all empowered. We are all the divine. We are all able to come up with what is our purpose, what is our reason for creation. All of these important big questions that we think we need the answer to, maybe we don't even need the answer, but we can at least go through the process of figuring it out and do just as good a job, really. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to hit like and share the video.